Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In today's video, I've got two stories for you and both of them have updates. Now let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user AtomicBorder791. Am I the a-hole for leaving my 24 male girlfriend, 23 female, to babysit alone when she never asked me to stay? My girlfriend babysits her cousins on her days off a few times a month for extra cash. I tend to help out when I'm also off or after work if they're still there because I'm the oldest sibling from a big household and I do well with kids. She says it's because I'm still half a kid myself. Anyway, yesterday I got a text from her asking me if I would like to come over. I get to her place and we chat for a while. All while she keeps trying to offer me a beer or a drink, which I continuously turn down because I had plans with my dad that night. A late birthday celebration since it was raining like piss out of a boot on the actual day. She didn't say anything about it, but looking back, I think she made a face, but I'm not sure. We hung out a bit more and still had 2 hours before I had to go pick up my dad and her cousin pulled up. It's unsurprising that it's my girlfriend's day off. She handles the kids well. Well, then instead of the usual 2 children, there were 5. Apparently, one of the kids wanted to have a sleepover at their aunt's house and invited 3 friends. My girlfriend kept staring at me from the corner of her eye, and I knew that she wanted me to cancel my plans with my dad to take care of these kids. I waited for her to ask or to say anything about it, but she didn't, so I didn't. I did try to help while I was there. I took her dog outside, tried to wear the kids down by having them raise the dog, and then ordered pizza. They weren't bad kids or even very rowdy, they were mostly excited. I left around the time I had originally intended, and my girlfriend didn't say anything, but clearly wasn't happy. The night with my dad went great, but uneventful. This morning, I woke up to a text from her. I have never felt as disrespected as I do right now. You are meant to be my partner and you abandoned me. I needed your help and you left me here to fend for myself. What did I do to deserve this? Do you hate me? Followed by another text that said, I think we need to talk in person. I'm honestly kind of angry myself the more I think about it. She signed up to watch 5 children and then got angry when she had to watch 5 children? But then I wonder if I'm being too harsh because I do help out whenever I'm there, which is pretty often. So there was a certain standard set in her head that I would help. I don't know. I think I would just like to hear the opinions of strangers before I have this talk and do something I regret because I think she's being unfair. So, am I the a-hole? No, OP, in my opinion, you're not the a-hole, and I have to say, I don't like this whole thing one bit. First of all, she's the one that's getting paid to babysit kids. Whether it's 2 or 5, that's something that she must have had spoken with her cousin before things happened. And also the question here is, are you getting paid for that too? Second, I'm sure she must have known you had plans with your dad. However, she scheduled the kids regardless of that. Third, and something that really rubbed me the wrong way, is that she kept offering you a drink. Now, if she just offered you a beer when you got there to kind of take the load off and you said no because, I gotta go meet my dad later, and she dropped it, then that's fine. But she persisted on it, which meant she then later wanted to use that to tell you that you couldn't drive because you had a drink. Which sure, I might be reading manipulation into that, but that, coupled with those messages that she sent you, to me scream manipulation full on here. You left her there to fend for herself, you were supposed to be her partner, what did she do to deserve that? Give me a break. So, she wants to have a conversation in person regarding this issue? Sure, call her out for being manipulative and trying to gaslight you with a message and see how she reacts. I'm getting the impression that she's gonna act offended and be angry at you and try to make you to be the one who has to apologize. And what is your judgment regarding this whole thing? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Tempting Penguin 369 says, not the a-hole. 1. Bad communication. She should have asked if she wanted you to stay. And 2. More alarmingly, it sounds like she was offering you drinks to get you to stay, and she apparently thinks it's all good to have a buzzed or drunk person babysitting children. And Opie responds, to be fair to her, I don't drink excessively ever, and if I were to have had more than a sniff of beer, I wouldn't feel comfortable driving for both the obvious as well as personal reasons. She had no reason to be concerned I would get sloppy drunk around the kids. Still don't like that she did that. Don't get me wrong, I just don't want people to think she was trying to have a party with them there or something. Saint and Villain says, not the a-hole. You should be incredibly angry at your girlfriend. 1. She voluntarily signed up for babysitting without telling you, but expected you to just go along with it. 2. She expects you to disappoint your dad to babysit kids you never agreed to babysit. 3. She literally tried to give you alcohol to make you stay. She knew if you drank, you wouldn't leave. 4. She refuses to communicate with you until after the fact. 5. She reflected on this entire situation and only sees fault on your end. Your girlfriend is dramatic, needy, self-important, and childish. Miss Cat W says, not the a-hole, but your girlfriend is. She could have very easily not offered to watch 5 children by herself. She also could have used her words and asked you to stay, which almost makes her the a-hole because you had plans with your father. You didn't sign up or get paid to be a babysitter. Please, she kept trying to get you to drink, so no, not the a-hole. Additional information from OP's comments. No, I don't get paid to babysit with her, and I've never minded. That part doesn't bother me because most of my part is always to keep them either entertained or prevent any potential riots, which isn't a problem because her cousin's kids are great. Also, whenever she doesn't have to babysit them, we do have dates sometimes, but we're more trip people than date people, with lots of mini vacations to surrounding cities or towns. Once every few months. We never get to do a lot, but it's always fun. And to be clear, yes, lol, I know all these kids. Small town, everyone knows everyone kind of thing. I absolutely get her fear though. I don't understand her cousin agreeing to let her watch all 5 by herself or even with me if she somehow told them that I was staying. These are good kids, but 5 all in one living room? But then I don't have kids, so who am I to judge? Also, yes, she knew I had plans with my dad, and no, she's never been super mad about me not helping before. All of this was kind of out of character, which is partially why I'm asking. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and I absolutely agree with everything that second commenter said. Each and every one of those 5 points ring absolutely true, and to me, the girlfriend is the big a-hole in this whole situation. Anyway, it's time to move on to the update to see how the story ends, but before that, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to click that like button, leave me a comment, and subscribe if you haven't become a part of our community yet. Now, let's move on with the update. So, you guys really helped me see some things I hadn't considered before. Someone mentioned that her offering me a beer to get me to stay thing was pretty insidious, and that they wondered how many times she did it, and I just didn't notice. That made me think. I started to think back to how many times I was there already, either having a drink on the couch or working on something for her, and her cousin's kids showed up either out of the blue or my girlfriend forgot to mention they would be there. It made me wonder how much of my decision to help her babysit for free was actually my idea. I didn't love the idea of being manipulated, but I figured, honestly, it was a harmless enough case, and if we talked about it and she apologized, it would be no big deal. So I went over to her place the next day. I was pretty calm. We had texted a little back and forth on the phone, but nothing big because I think we both wanted to talk in person. She was crying before I got there. We sat down and she started us off with, "Why did you leave me?" So I asked her why she didn't ask me to stay. She said that she knew I knew and that I was smart enough to know she would need help with 5 children. So I asked if I would have gotten any of the money that she was being paid to babysit, and she looked angry and started going on about how she didn't know I had fallen on such hard times and that she would go in her purse. I rolled my eyes at that. Immature, I know. No, Opie, that's the right response for that kind of manipulation. I then asked her if she tried giving me beer so I wouldn't leave, and she looked shocked for a minute before answering no. It was so obviously a lie that I just moved on to the next question, asking if she had done it before. She started looking angry again and said that if I really thought she would do that, then we shouldn't be in a relationship. I knew she was being facetious, but honestly, I was so done at this point, you could stick a fork in me. So I took her up on it. I hadn't intended to break up with her, but suddenly, when I was given the opportunity, I realized I kind of wanted to. I still love her, don't get me wrong, but this wasn't the first time she had screamed like that, though it usually wasn't at me. I just didn't want to hear it anymore. She messaged me the next day, apologizing and asking if I saw a future for us, but when I said no, she dropped it. Her mom and dad came to my work, and I don't know if it was just hilarious timing or if they wanted to say goodbye. We had a pretty good talk, and they confirmed that there are no hard feelings with them. I didn't ask about my ex because it didn't feel proper, but they offered that when she had talked to them, she had been really embarrassed about the breakup. They were hinting that they wanted to know why we broke up, and I just shrugged. I wasn't sure how they would respond, and I didn't want to get either of us in hot water with them or accidentally start up some kind of reconciliation attempt. Anyway, thanks for the help. She probably thought I'd never call her out, and she would have been right, eh? I didn't really think about it until people here brought it up. And maybe breaking up is a disproportionate response, but she's the one who brought it into the equation. I just agreed. And if she only said it to try to make me drop the subject, I don't want to be in a relationship like that anyway. Still, I think it all ended on a good note. I mean, I wish he had apologized or been willing to talk about it without the fighting, but if a breakup had to happen, I don't see a world where it went better than it did. Like, once that was decided, the fighting stopped. And I know there's no bad blood with her family, so it doesn't cause any problems for anyone. I mentioned this in the last post, but it's a small town. I really didn't want to make church today awkward for anyone. Well, OP, I think you're absolutely right. This is the best ending you could have possibly hoped for. I mean, considering she was driving the whole discussion to either manipulate you into apologizing or leveraging the relationship to try to get you to fall in line and drop the topic. So good on you for saying, sure, we're done here. So on that note, here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thanks for sharing it. Take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user Master Protection 29. 20-plus-year-old vengeful pettiness comes to fruition. A few months ago, I got a call from my very distressed and angry godson. His piece of crap mother, Momster, and his soon-to-be ex-wife have conspired to hide soon-to-be ex's cheating and their attempted theft of state and heirlooms. A quick backstory. I introduced my godson's parents without knowing at the time that Momster was a gold-digging narcissistic monster. My godson's parents had an extremely ugly and long divorce. When my godson turned 18, the divorce was still going, so his father removed himself from his family multi-generational estate and trust to transfer all of it, including the house, to my godson. As a Christmas or Hanukkah present, my godson served both parents with an eviction notice, but his father's envelope also had a rental agreement. Within a few months, his parents' divorce was finalized, and both my godson and his father went no contact with Momster. Due to her deplorable treatment of my godson, I was already no contact with Momster. Fast forward to now. My godson vented about learning that Momster and soon-to-be ex had been attempting to access his safety deposit boxes at different banks and the safe within the home with the intention of stealing its contents. The final straw was that soon-to-be ex's flavor of the week, along with the vile pair of women, were trying to cut into the safe when my godson got home. He wasn't supposed to get home. However, it so happened that soon-to-be ex and her co-conspirators were so involved with the safe break-in that she forgot to pick up their child, and my godson was called by the school to pick up the child and he took him home. My godson did have a feeling about soon-to-be ex's infidelity beforehand and had security camera footage from inside the home, and the door cameras were backed up to state lawyers. My godson was in the process of drawing up divorce papers due to infidelity and was waiting for more proof because he wanted full custody of their child. Now, his child is still a minor but of the age to choose which parent they want to live with and wants to stay with my godson. Soon-to-be ex gets absolutely no monetary compensation due to infidelity as they have a very detailed prenup. Soon-to-be ex is pissed, to say the least, and is trying all the dirty games Momster tried all those years ago, plus some new games. My godson is heartbroken because he truly loves his soon-to-be ex, and his parents' divorce really affected him. He never wanted a repeat of his parents' divorce and didn't want his child to experience what he did. During one of our last calls, my godson was venting about the newest manipulation of soon-to-be ex and Momster, and his child's heartbreak. Yes, they are both in joint and individual therapy. That's when I remembered something about his parents' divorce. A little clause I mentioned to his father to add to his divorce decree. I never read their papers and wasn't sure if my little petty addition was actually added. I told my godson to ask his lawyers to research Momster's divorce papers for a conspiracy against estate clause or something like that. I later received a text from my godson. "Is this your vengeful petty addition?" followed by an image full of legalese and Momster's signature at the end of the paragraph. The legalese basically states that any involvement in attempting to acquire trust or state assets will nullify any and all previously incurred monetary compensation received by the plaintiff. Additionally, all monetary compensation will be refunded to said trust or estate with interests at market value. Snicker, snicker, I really am a vindictive and protective godmom. I texted back, "Bwahaha. Yep, I'm happy your father was pissed enough to add my pettiness. Yes, Momster got alimony, and yes, she agreed to the stipulation. So yes, Momster's involvement in the attempted theft has caused her to lose her alimony. And now she must repay all of it with interest. I was petty and vengeful even then. Cooler minds, father and lawyers, prevailed and didn't allow me to car compactor all her belongings into a big cube. So I wanted to get her where she would feel it most." I'm shocked godson's big teddy bear of a father really followed through with my addition to the divorce decree. Momster is now crying about her son stealing from her, soon-to-be ex isn't fighting the divorce or child custody, and godson and grand-godson are planning a summer world tour on Momster's dime. Finally, a new and updated vengeful petty clause is being added to the new divorce papers. "Don't hurt my godsons or I'll come after you." But I didn't stop there. Soon-to-be ex's email is being bombed with spam mail, thanks to me. Whenever I see an email sign up for free information, I use hers. It's a little pettiness and absolutely entertaining for me. A pettiness double down, absolutely delicious OP, but of course I promised you guys an update, so let's finish the video with that. Momster called me this weekend screeching like a pterodactyl in the wood chipper. The best I could decipher after rapidly pulling my phone away from my ear was that Momster is going to be living the rest of her life in poverty because I'm a witch whom her son prefers over her, blah blah blah. Duh, you're a deplorable human who has always looked out for herself, even to the detriment of others. She is demanding I supplement her financial loss since, again, it's my fault. I told her all she needed to do was not steal from her son and she would have been fine. But again, it's my fault because daughter-in-law needed it and all Momster was doing was protecting daughter-in-law's future. Some more circular talking and all that. Still, the bottom line was that it's all my fault, her ex-husband's or son's fault, police corruption, and that she's the actual victim. I started making a squeaking sound about 5 minutes into the one-ended phone screeching call, and Momster demanded to know what the noise was. My answer? I'm playing my little violin for you. I have absolutely no idea why the screeching pterodactyl in the wood chipper returned shortly after she hung up on me. No idea whatsoever. OP, thank you so much for sharing. I think you're awesome. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.